Hello Form 3s. Let's introduce you to essay writing today, and I would like you to know first of all that essay writing is a product of something that you have been doing all along, reading and understanding texts. So today I just want to do a small bit of that, reading and understanding the questions. So I have 4 quick ones. As you can clearly see on the board, your essay has 4 parts. The first part is usually the introduction, and in the introduction, we'll award you 2 marks if you do exemplary work. The body of the essay will give you 12 marks. That is the bulk of the essay. That is the reason why you're writing the essay. Then there must be a conclusion. We'll talk about that in our subsequent lessons, and there will be 4 marks pegged on language, depending on how well you discuss your essay. Having understood that, I want us to look at something else. How best can you understand your question? What are some of the things you need to do in order to understand your questions well? Number 1, read the entire question. Let me demonstrate something. Tougher times await third world countries in 50 years. Examiners like to lock or open the question in the next statement after giving these major statements. Even so, they give you a simpler version of the statement in subsequent statements. So the major statement here is tougher times await third world countries in 50 years. If we were to add another statement, see how examiners will lock the question to a narrow scope. So they'll say something like, write an essay closely referring to Montano's revelation when he travels into the future in the Samaritan. We'll base our illustrations on the closing day at Sagrada Secondary School during the play within a play, the skit, the short skit that Alvita, Montano, and Teacher Nicole stage at the launch of the Samaritan by the mayor and the leaders of Maracas municipality. So, what do I mean? That this is the entire text, this is the play. We have a small bit of it, which is the skit. There's also another small section that belongs to Montano alone. There is a role that Montano plays in this skit. We'll leave the rest of the text and talk about Montano alone. So what happens if you didn't read the question in entirety? You did not see that you were supposed to talk about Montano and the revelation that he has of Maracas in the next 50 years. That's how the examiners like to lock the question to a particular person. Let's look at another reason why you should read the entire question. How do examiners open the scope of your answers? What will they do? They'll say, write an essay basing on how bad leaders of Maracas have ruined the municipality. Same question, different angle. Here, you will be looking at the ruin that is already in Maracas municipality and how it projects the future. But now, we've not locked you to one character or one scenario. We have opened the question so that if this is the play, you look for Maracas leaders. All of them have ruined the municipality in their own way. So you'll find the mayor, Inspector Bembe, Ramdai, all the leaders of Maracas and how they have ruined Maracas municipality and use it to project that indeed tougher times await Maracas municipality in the next 50 years. The scope of your answers is wide. Again, examiners can add another statement right here just to simplify a question that they feel might be heavy on some students, especially if it uses essay writing jargon that is a bit tricky for high schoolers, yet it is the best word to use in such a scenario. We have fixed forms, for example. Maybe it were a proverb. To simplify that, they add something. Let me show you in a short while. Write an essay showing how worse things will get for developing countries in years to come. Now, this second part of the question, the major part we said is tougher times await third world countries in 50 years. This second part simplifies and simply tells the candidate that tougher times refer to how worse things are going to get. Then third world countries will be simplified by mentioning developing countries. This second part is a simplified or another version of this base statement, so that if you don't get it right here, you will get it right here. Read the entire question. So now you've read the entire question. Identify the subject. Identifying the subject is important because it will let you know what is going to be the departure point of your essay. When you raise your points, who are you talking about? What are you going to talk about? So the subject of your essay is just who or what you'll be talking about. In this particular question, then, what is our subject? Who or what are we writing about? Should we be writing about? So I just want to get rid of these parts. Tougher times await third world countries in 50 years. Look at the first word. What occupies the subject position in that statement? What occupies the subject position projects what you are going to write about. So in that case, tougher times is our subject. Why should we identify it? Because we will dwell on tougher times more than anything else. We'll talk about third world countries, yes. We will talk about in 50 years, but again, we will not dwell on that. What we will concentrate to illustrate will be the tougher times. So knowing the subject helps you know where to put your energy, where to put a lot of attention. I'm not saying that the others are not important. They are important because they are connected to the subject. When you'll be raising your points, each of them will have a third world country, and that will be just Maracas municipality. But each of them will have a specific tougher time that you will be addressing from the onset. Right from the introduction, pay attention to the subject. I've come across a number of students, especially those who are doing essay writing for the first time. They have this illusion that essay writing is about themes, character, and style. Yes, it is about those three aspects, but examiners twist so that you look at them at some angle that is not very obvious. So you will not get a question on theme in this setup under development in third world countries, or even hopelessness in third world countries. No examiner will ask you to discuss the theme of underdevelopment in the play The Samaritan. Neither will they tell you discuss the theme of hopelessness. They will give you an angle to look at it, so that you approach hopelessness, you approach underdevelopment, but from a perspective, from an angle that is uniform for everyone. So yes, you'll be asked to talk about a theme, you'll be asked to talk about a style, you'll be asked to talk about character trait, but then it will be from a perspective that is not direct, so that you hurl every aspect of it into your essay. No, you will have to select what goes into your essay and what does not. The third thing that you must do if you want to understand the essay question well, address all connections. Connections, here I mean relationships. Each question has the subject, and the subject is related to other entities, to other components of the question in some way. You must establish that relationship. Our usual question: tougher times await third world countries in 50 years. Write an essay. There's a continuation, of course, but I just want us to dwell on that basic statement. What does tougher times relate to in this question? Tougher times is at the center, and on one end we have a third world country, and on the other extreme end we have a time frame, and that is 50 years on. 50 years on. So third world countries are going to experience tougher times 50 years on. The A student has already seen where I'm driving at. Tougher is a comparative, isn't it? And comparatives compare two elements. Third world countries are having it tough. But when? Now. Now. Third world countries are having it rough. They have tough times now. In 50 years, those times will translate to tougher. If you saw it that way, then be sure that in your essay, you will have a bit of tough as background of your essay. Then you'll come here illustrating this notion that tougher times await third world countries in 50 years. In this essay, the connection that we must establish is that of comparison. We'll not give it 50-50. We will have tough in our background. Then we will quickly go to tougher and dwell on that, proving beyond doubt that tougher times await third world countries in 50 years. The last bit that I would like us to handle is the moral sense. Form 3's. Paper 3, essay writing is about morality. If you compromise morality, be sure to be deducted up to 4 marks. Up to 4 marks in essay 1, up to 4 marks in essay 2, up to 4 marks in essay 3. A total of 12 marks just gone like that. 6% of your score in English just goes away because of immorality. The moral aspect in your essay will be direct or indirect, depending on how the question has been structured. Some questions have a direct moral sense in the sense that good or right is rewarded. While you're writing, you reward good and what is right. But wrong and bad are punished. As direct as that, so that consequences of one's actions catch up with them. We have other questions where the moral sense is implied or indirect. Indirect in the sense that you have to assume it in your writing using tone. The tone that you use should not be one that contravenes morality. In this question, tougher times await third world countries in 50 years. The moral sense that we establish here is implied that if third world countries don't watch out, you see, people who don't watch out suffer in the end. That's what it means. So when you'll be writing, assume a tone that cautions. Write with a tone that disapproves bad and wrong. Write with a tone that approves good and right. While we'll be looking at the parts of an essay elaborately, at the conclusion, I would suggest that you drive home the moral lesson. If developing countries don't watch out, they will be in for a rude shock in 50 years to come. Third world countries or developing countries must change. And that's why, at the conclusion, we'll accept even proverbs, because we know proverbs carry the moral sense. Any questions? If you have any questions, comment section, ASAP. I'll answer each and every question as it comes.